So, how was observing consumers on the street? Got any ideas for a new product? Yes, of course. I practically had my eyes fixed on women who were walking up and down the stairs in their killer heels. Boy, oh boy, did they look just great. Half the women these days wear sneakers, and the other half wear killer heels. Which got me thinking, how about we make high-heeled sneakers? Wouldn't that be groundbreaking? What? Are you kidding me?
Hello, I'm Alex Jensen from IGM. So, when was the last time you did your laundry? Most drum-type washing machines require the user to bend over 90 degrees at the waist to take out the laundry. This is actually quite inconvenient. But what if there was a washing machine that allowed users to only bend half as much as before, making it easier to take out the laundry? The Klasse drum-type washing machine made by Dongbu Daewoo Electronics does just that. Here's another similar example. People often bump their heads on the cabinet doors when they try to open the cabinets over the sink. In response, Hansem, a Korean kitchen appliance manufacturer, introduced cabinets with flip-up doors that open upwards instead of sideways. But when you think of it, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to come up with these ideas. What sets these companies apart is that they focused on identifying customer inconveniences and came up with ideas to resolve such issues. That resulted in creating a huge difference, the X factor for their products. Many companies conduct customer surveys or focus group interviews to find ideas that would make their products stand out from the crowd. They directly ask customers what kind of products they want. But unfortunately, such approaches often end up as failures. Why? Because more often than not, consumers themselves are not usually aware of what they need, and above all, they are not completely honest when they participate in surveys. A French news magazine, Marianne, was published after survey results, which indicated that customers wanted a magazine that did not carry gossips or ads. Marianne championed itself as a magazine with sex-free, scandal-free, and rumor-free contents, only to close down shortly after its launch. McDonald's also relied on customers' voices, which indicated that they would be willing to buy a healthy burger made from seaweed. So, McDonald's introduced the McLean burger in 1991. Unfortunately, it didn't last very long because customers gave the right answers instead of honest ones in their surveys. Then should we just give up and stop making anything at all? Not just yet. We can use observation to find out what customers really think, what they are not saying, and what bothers them. So what are we to observe, and how should we do it? Just remember three things. CBU. First, observe the socio-cultural context relevant to the target consumers. By socio-cultural context, we mean the culture or customs that influence customers in using products or services. For instance, LG Electronics first observed the cultural context of Middle Easterners before launching its mobile phone business there. LG noticed that Muslims prayed 5 times a day while facing their holy Mecca. It struck them that Muslims could get confused if they found themselves in desert areas where they can easily lose their sense of direction. With this insight, LG was convinced that consumers in the Middle East would be enthusiastic about mobile phones that had a feature which pointed the user in the direction of Mecca from anywhere and at any time. So LG added the GPS and compass features to their mobile phones. The result? It was a huge success. LG was spot on. Driven by the popularity in the Middle East, their sales soared and increased 7% from the previous year. Let's look at another example. Dongbu Daewoo Electronics carefully observed the cultural context of Arabs. For Arabs, water is a precious commodity. So Dongbu Daewoo introduced a refrigerator that could be locked so that water couldn't be removed without the owner's permission. The fridge was received with fanfare. Adding a compass to a mobile phone, putting a lock on a refrigerator, I'm sure you can agree that such ideas would not have come easily without observing the socio-cultural context of consumers. Second, observe consumer behavior for any inconveniences that are helplessly tolerated. Have you ever come close to tripping over the power cord of your laptop? When people trip over laptop power cords in a library or an office, the laptop crashes down off the table. But even when this happens, consumers tend to just pass it off as an inevitable inconvenience, something that can't be helped. Apple observed such consumer behavior and came up with a way to address it. They replaced the power plug with a magnet, making the cord easily detachable from the laptop in case someone tripped over it. Thanks to this measure, MacBooks are safe from falling hard on the floor, even if users were to trip over the power cord. If Apple had not carefully observed consumer behavior, they wouldn't have been able to come up with such a thoughtful idea, one that even takes the customer's safety into account. Lastly, observe whether customers are using your product for an unintended use. The American household items manufacturer Rubbermaid monitored how their customers were using the Rubbermaid walkers. At a close look, Rubbermaid noticed that each walker had hanging cup holders or baskets attached by the user. Why? Seniors using the walkers used both their hands to hold the device, which made it hard for them to hold their personal items. So Rubbermaid made walkers that came with mesh storage bags attached to them, scoring a huge success. So, what do you think? Do you think you can now create your product's X factor? Depending on whether you can carefully observe your customers and identify what really gets on their nerves, your product can end up as just another commodity on the shelf or emerge as refreshing innovation at a whole new level. So, keep in mind the 3 tips we talked about today and start observing, start reading the customer's mind.